You are listening to 94.3 WMSC, Montclair, New Jersey. Welcome to the Morning Buzz. My name is Rick, and joined today, as always, I have my wonderful host,
Amanda Marino.
and in our virtual studio here, we have... Jacob, say it again.
Gets.
Thank you. As always, I forgot to turn on the Zoom mic, but that's okay. We're all good here. We're going to have a good day. It is beautiful. October 5th, 2020, spooky season. I'm very excited about spooky season. It is Halloween. Yes.
Pumpkin coffee right here.
You got pumpkin coffee. He's in the mood. Heck yeah, dude.
He's into spooky season.
He is. No,
Sure.
for me, October doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. It doesn't. It's just Halloween. It's like 30 days of Halloween for me. And I still haven't decorated my house. It is a dilemma. I did cry myself to sleep over it, but don't worry. I'm decorating it today. So all you radio listeners, no need to worry. We're going to have a good show today.
Everybody out there was
it's a weird
so
morning. I know. Everybody was so worried. They were stressed. They were like, Ryan, no.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I feel a little different now that I know.
Yeah, it's okay, Jacob. It's okay.
It's sad. Like, I don't know. I came here thinking...
It's a tragic story. A single tear came down my face in slow motion with dramatic music in the background. There's a piano somewhere.
Well, I'm comforted knowing
but
that
it was
on
a spooky piano, yeah.
Spooky track.
So you're getting there.
Yeah, exactly. If you are interested, by the way, in socials and spooky things, I posted retweeted quite a spooky video on my Twitter at Ryan the Trick. Was that a socials plug? At Ryan the Trick on Twitter and at WMSC using the hashtag Morning Buzz? Yeah, Amanda, that was a plug. Insane. It's quite a spooky video. Literally can't play it on air. Breaks my heart. Either way, we have a great show for you today. We are going to be talking about all of the wonderful spooky things that happened. Happened over the weekend.
Spooky season indeed.
Oh yeah, spooky season indeed. But of course, first and foremost, we have Jacob. Is it Gets? Goats?
Yeah, it's Gets. It's like Get.
It's a silent O.
Yeah, it's there for some reason. It just wants attention.
That's
okay.
Fair enough. We have Jacob Getz here again in our virtual studio. He's going to be doing our newscast. Jacob, tell me what's going on in the world.
Hello. Okay, so for international news, the AP is reporting that over 100,000 people took the streets in the Belarus capital to protest against Alexander Lukashenko, who has won his 6th term in what many feel was a rigged election. The protesters are demanding that he resigns and that political prisoners be freed. More than 10,000 people have been detained since his election. And then, of course, for national news, there have been significant updates on the President Trump's condition since he tested positive for coronavirus on Friday. The New York Times reports that the president's blood oxygen levels had dropped significantly on 2 occasions on Friday, and he's since begun treatment with a steroid called dexamethasone. Many believe that this information seems to indicate that the president's condition is more severe than what was originally suggested. And from the Montclarian, a sociology professor here at MSU named Arnold Kurotkin had been helping 9/11 victims and their families by sending them helpful information and resources by email. He says that he was inspired to start the project when a woman told him that she could no longer read news because of her trauma. And the emails have gone out to as many as 5,000 people. For some good news, congrats to WMSC for a great college radio day.
And a great college radio day it was. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
And for weather, if you're bold enough to go outside, it's about 49 degrees right now in Montclair, but it should go up to 69 degrees in the afternoon. And there's a 40% chance of rain.
I got really nervous there at first because you were like 90 degrees.
90.
Yeah, no.
I just was outside. I don't think it's 90 degrees.
Nah, 94 degrees. Yeah, no, but
that would hurt.
For sure.
That would be very spooky weather. We are gonna run this spooky joke.
Yeah, it's gonna go.
I am very excited to do so, though. But yeah, no, we did have a really good college radio day.
We did.
It was fantastic. If you weren't able to catch the Super Buzz, we did a special edition of the Morning Buzz from 7 to 9. So 2 hours of our ridiculousness, and ridiculousness it was.
And there was a lot of just special broadcasting, special live shows. There was NJ Choice with AJ and Lewis. They did a town hall event. There was a lot of things that went on Friday that were special for College Radio Day. And if you missed College Radio Day, well, that's a shame.
You can. I'm pretty sure you can catch most of the. I think a lot of the content was recorded.
Yeah.
I know the Super Buzz was actually put up on our YouTubes.
Yep.
On our YouTubes.
YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
On them YouTubes and SoundClouds.
Also, I'm going to do a self-plug for my show, When Sparks Fly. I actually wasn't airing on College Radio Day, but I did a special college-influenced show last week into this week, so catch that at 10 this morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a special. A lot of bands were influenced by college radio, so did a special special show based off that.
You know, I'll get in there and plug too. For the first time in a long time, I had my own music show.
Wow.
Was
it the Rock and Talk?
What was it called?
It was not the Rock and Talk radio show. It was because the Rock and Talk radio show does not air between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m.
Yeah, for all you listeners out there or viewers on Facebook Live, Ryan actually came to the studio on Friday at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Or I guess in the morning. And did a
show.
Till 2 a.m.
I called it Ryan's Insomniac Radio. That I will be posting soon. I'm gonna edit a little bit, but I'm gonna try and get that up on our SoundCloud or YouTube or something, because that was a fun time. I had a lot of fun and just playing music for people. AJ popped in, Josh popped in. So if you want to hear from
Radio Day
them.
was overall just a great day.
It was a great day.
Ryan, do you want to talk about that lovely scholarship information?
The thing that we're supposed to talk about? Funny you ask. I just pulled it up on my phone. Yeah, no. So in all seriousness though, so college radio gives a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, not just us.
We were very fortunate enough to, during all the pandemic stuff, to be able to still broadcast live and still have this outlet of Zoom and be able to come back to our studio, but not every school was as fortunate as us. So, Brian.
Yeah, so college radio really gives, I'm talking people all around the world. For World College Radio Day, we had hundreds of stations on literally every continent but Antarctica contribute to World College Radio Day all across the world. So college radio is is a huge thing, and especially for us here at WMSC, right so close to the city, it is really a great launching point for a lot of students to kind of get into the field of broadcasting. So WMSC is actually currently trying to raise money for the WMSC Excellence in Radio Scholarship and Training Fund. We have been posting it on our socials, again, at WMSC on Twitter, right? At WMSC Radio. I know I posted, I made a post about it. So when you're looking
at that spooky video.
Yeah, if you're looking at that spooky video and you want to contribute, the post I made just basically says, shout out to all my awesome fellow college radio people at WMSC. Let's keep killing it. For those who are enjoying what we do at the station, one way you can show your support is donating to the scholarship fund.
A lot of people
Let's keep college radio
have
going.
an assumption sometimes that this is done. Just it doesn't cost a lot, but it costs a lot to keep a radio station running. So this would greatly help.
And something a lot of people don't know either too is we don't get paid to do this.
No.
A lot of it, and I've recently come to realize that is a very common misconception. Any of the SMT, our station manager AJ, who's a college student, he doesn't get paid to do his job.
Yeah, we all work other part-time jobs and do a lot of other things outside of this. This is just more helpful for us, and we're just trying to build in the field of broadcasting and a lot of those kinds of things. So yeah, we're not getting paid to be here. We're not. This is like volunteer. Ryan and I volunteer to come here on a Monday morning and do this for you guys because we love doing it.
My friends joke with me because I'll get emails at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, or a call from Amanda saying, "Did you see this story drop?" And we gotta drop what we're doing and fix it on the script, or change stuff up, or people drop out, whatever. So I work. We work long hours, and it's a joke honestly with my friends that we'll all be hanging out at night, and if I get a phone call, they're like, "It's radio, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "You still don't get paid, do you?" And I'm like, "Nope." But no, so basically, we are trying to raise money for the scholarship fund. It's an award and scholarship that goes out to the people at the station who are really, really doing some awesome stuff. So you can show your support if you are interested. I believe we're posting
Our social medias.
Yeah, you can find it on our socials, or some of our individual socials. So I'm an ambassador for it. If you want to hook me up, show your support. Nothing goes to me. It literally just says like, "Hey, I donated through Ryan," and I'm like, "Aha, heck yeah,
okay.
dude." But either way,
yeah, just you can check out our.
So
if you're interested, check out our social medias to find out more info. But anyways.
But that's not what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the show.
Season.
It is spooky.
It's also I would say it's just spooky year, honestly. 2020.
Yeah, no, that was.
It's been a real spooky year.
It's been a real spooky year. Every day, like everybody keeps saying, like, I feel like we're just reaching a new level each day. Like like going to Twitter anymore. It's just like you're not even like, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
There's so much things that are happening. You're just like, it doesn't even like bother anybody.
Yeah, the writers really put it up a notch this year.
Like
the writers.
I don't know.
So 2020. Let's run down the checklist.
Well, we started it off with a World War III scare.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Was right, because it's like, who cares, right?
No,
it literally doesn't matter anymore.
Wait, before we even dive into that, this year has been like, I'm like, oh yeah, the news cycle. That's what I was trying to say. The news cycle is changing so fast that we're like, you remember that? It happened like a week ago, and we're just like, we're already past that. Like
the presidential debate.
Like what? That was
that
months
I'm
ago,
still
right?
seeing memes about.
No, but it feels like it was months ago already.
Right? Yeah, no.
Happened, and
like SNL released their thing on it. I was like, are we still are we still talking about it?
Yeah, exactly. The internet beat SNL to it for once.
Yeah, and it's just nuts because if you like went back last year, like at this time, like there was news and there was breaking news, I'm sure, but like it wasn't like every single day. Like 2020 has been like there's something new every single day. I know our general manager Annabella always messages us in the chat and is like, did you guys have this on your bingo card for this year? Like because just things are so changing so fast. We like you're right, Jacob, we had that World War III scare at the start of the year. We had the fires in Australia, coronavirus, we have all
I saw a sign posted on social media. And it was like, did we forget the murder, or did we skip the murder hornets? I feel like we skipped the murder hornets.
Yeah, like,
I don't know. I feel like that was just a headline for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone was really out here getting stung by murder hornets.
We could really dive into, because I'm sure there's somewhere out there's something that says, well, this day in history happened this, and then this, and then this, and 2020, and it was all probably breaking stuff.
2020 is going to be its own history.
Yeah, it's going to be.
There's going to be like classes specifically on like 2020.
Oh yeah.
But staying on the subject of 2020, obviously we broke the news on the buzz on Friday that President Donald Trump was tested positive for coronavirus. So yeah, we could say that, but there was also a lot of stuff that also happened this weekend having to do with Trump and the coronavirus. So we just wanted to I think just unpack that today.
We're
just talking about a lot of that.
It's been a very busy news weekend.
Yeah, very busy with specifically this. But we do, before we get into that, is we do want to mention that any opinions that we are saying today is just based off me, Ryan, and Jacob, not the station.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about our station. It is literally just us.
So if you want to angry tweet us, once again, you can find us at Ryan the Trick, and I believe
think it's A Marino _123, something like that. I don't know.
Jacob, do you have socials so people can angry tweet you?
I got for sure. I got mine's like Jacob Theodore NJ. That's my Twitter handle. Feel free to come angry in my DMs and hash it out.
I have yet to get an angry tweet. I'm waiting.
I'll be so happy when it happens.
Today might be the day, right?
Honestly,
today might be the day when
I'll angry
call
tweet you.
when I call our president an unintelligent human specimen for many reasons.
I'll angry
we'll get
tweet
into
you.
No, let's do
it.
Yeah, Amanda's gonna angry tweet.
Well,
back.
angry
anyway,
tweet.
So we're gonna unpack it.
But anyways, Where do we start?
Okay, so I actually, can I like, because there's the two big pieces of information,
Go
and I
ahead.
kind of want to explain it a bit.
Go
because,
ahead.
Because I thought like in the newscast it's supposed to be short.
No,
So-
go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
The two things are basically that his oxygen levels dropped, and that he's taking this new drug, a steroid called dexamethasone. And the kind of takeaway is that like his blood oxygen level dropped for a second time. This is all coming from the New York Times, by the way. It dropped to 93%. And a lot of people, experts,
Doctors, scientists.
yeah, they claim that anything below 94 is considered like a severe case of corona. Like that's,
Well,
and yeah.
what I'm going to say before you even dive into that. So for any people that haven't been watching the news or listening to the news or any respect, so he was admitted to the hospital on Friday from the White House, and there was not a lot specified. We saw him leave into the Air Force. I don't even know what the helicopter's called, but
Air Force One.
Yeah, I thought it was. I just didn't want to get it wrong. Air Force One. He went into Air Force One, and he was airlifted to the hospital, which is okay. But most people will say like, okay, if the case of corona wasn't that bad, why are you even stepping into a hospital? Like so people already assumed, yeah, it must be bad. Also, we have to take into consideration his health factors of he's older. I don't know if he has any other medical conditions, things like that. He is a little overweight, and like you can't like put that like those are all symptoms. And he's also male, and males have something a little more with this than women. So we got to take that into consideration. But also, you just mentioned these drugs and such.
Yeah,
they're putting a lot. There's tried some experimental ones and stuff, and like that's what's scary too, because they're throwing a lot of drugs on him. You almost wonder in a sense like, did he just ask for any drugs that are made like to like, you know what I mean? Like just to ask because like to get better, or they're just throwing things because again, like he is the president, so they want to make sure he has something.
Yeah, no matter how you feel about the president of the United States, it's difficult not difficult. It's just you just can't argue the fact that like, listen, he is the president of the United States.
Yeah, whether
so
you like him or not, they're gonna give him
give him top priority.
He had like 12 or 13 doctors and nurses surrounding him to help him with this. But it just makes you wonder in a sense. They tried about 3 drugs, and I don't remember which drug it was, but there was one specific drug that they literally only are giving people if they're like on their deathbed with coronavirus.
Yeah, I think that's the steroid.
Yeah, and it's literally like you're not supposed to really give it out for mild symptoms. You're supposed to give it out like the person is already like kind of going towards like not a good place, so they're giving them that because of like that.
Something I want to say before we go any further. So for those of you listening or watching on Facebook, there is a lot of, and we can talk about this too. So there is misinformation going around.
Yes.
It came out, I believe, Amanda, you were telling me that they were questioning if his oxygen levels had dropped, and initially they said no.
So they did a little press like briefing thing on Saturday with the doctors
with
and stuff.
People in lab coats.
So like they asked, are there any questions? And reporters asked, was he ever on oxygen? Was he on oxygen today? They asked in every single way possible, and the doctor said no, no, no. Then yesterday it came out that he actually was on oxygen at some point. He was trying to keep it down low, and it almost makes you wonder if again, this is me speculating, I don't know if this is used as almost like a political tactic in a sense. Look at it from that way, because yesterday I was on YouTube or something and I saw an ad that said, oh, Donald Trump is he's not weak, he's strong, or whatever the case may be. And it was an ad because he's doing well with the coronavirus, or at least that's what we're told. So that's where it's like, is this like some kind of tactic?
It is spooky, right? Because there was one ad that was on the front page of YouTube, which to get that one, it costs it said like text this to send Trump your blessing, or like to send him a message.
It seems weird because
right.
It's also reported this weekend. I should pull up the stats because I don't want to say any false information, but it was Biden went up this week to 12 or 13 points up. Like I think it was like 51 in the polling, and he went down to 39. It was something weird. He went up, Biden, and Trump went down. And you have to realize last week's Newsweek was nuts because we had the taxes come out, Trump's taxes. We had
arguably the worst debate in American history.
Yeah.
We had the debate. We also had, all the stuff that was coming out at the debate, like that was coming at Trump.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't know, this got really brushed over because it was the same night that the coronavirus test came in. Melania had tapes come out last week.
Oh yeah.
That said, you heard of, I can't say what she said on air because FCC stuff, but
I forget what
she basically said, she said like she hates Christmas, basically, and it was like this whole it was this whole big thing that she was on a phone call, and there was a lot of other things that was said, but it was a tapes that got released, and then like 2 hours later there was a positive test of coronavirus, and that was what swept the headlines instead. You know what I mean? So like it's almost like last week there was a lot that happened, so you could say that's why that they went down, but it's almost like, is this now a new political tactic to like get more votes? Or for people to feel bad. Yeah.
Or the weird thing, even if not, obviously there's a very likely chance that he does have COVID.
Oh yeah, I mean, the thing what people say is like, why would you be on all these drugs? That's one thing. Also, I've been watching like the news and my family and stuff, and they're saying like he doesn't look good here. Like in these pictures, like he doesn't look good.
He doesn't look great.
He doesn't look great.
Yeah,
like you can see his coloring is off, and he I saw
he looks a slightly paler shade of orange.
Yeah.
And I am gonna say this too because this touches on all this stuff too. Yesterday, it was breaking that he made like a video online, and then he decided I'm gonna show some support to my fans that are waiting outside the hospital, and decided to get into a car and wave to all the supporters. And by the way, that wave was really weird. It really was. It was like this like creepy wave, and I don't know, it was weird. But anyways, like he got into a car to say hi to all his fans that were waiting outside.
He left the hospital.
Yes, with COVID.
Fully contagious, surrounded by his security team.
That's putting them at risk. And the people who have talked about it, they're like, this was a theatrical performance he just gave. It's like, if you remember back in June, I think it was. Yeah, it was like May or June where he had a press briefing, and then he walked over to the White House, not the White House, to the church that was near the White House. You remember that whole thing? That it was like a theatrical.
And they had to like push everyone, like really just kind of brutalize protesters to clear the way for him.
Yes, and it was for like a picture, a photo.
Yeah, literally just and only a bad photo op too. He didn't even like get good.
It wasn't even that good.
Like his position was all awkward. Like I don't know.
My favorite thing that one of the reporters asked, is that your Bible? He's like, no, it's a Bible. Like, it's not your Bible. But anyway, so basically my point being, it was a photo op, and it was like that instance again. And it's, I don't know, like I looked at that picture of him walking. I'm going to see if I can pull up some video. It didn't look good.
So this is the part where I want to reiterate the opinions of the hosts do not reflect that of the station. That said, I do not understand how this freaking human specimen will not.
Allegedly a human specimen.
Allegedly. I still think he's like, you remember the old days of the internet with Annoying Orange? I'm pretty sure he's Annoying Orange in like a mech suit or something.
Sound theory.
Either way, I do not understand how still he does not seem to get the urgency of COVID. So during his rallies, and this has been really ticking me off like over the past few months. We've seen during his rallies and whatnot and all that, and don't even get me started on the whole TikTokers like, memeing on him, which I still think is hilarious. But for the people who do show up, there's no social distancing protocols. No masks are being worn. He is known for like not wanting to wear masks out in public, and he started calling like his rallies protests or something. It was weird. So that still blows my mind. So as the president of the United States, you're hosting rallies during a global pandemic. And I had this conversation with my dad. So Dad, if you're listening, shout out to you. I am going to bring your point in here because you did make a very good point. So I was having this conversation with my dad, and here's the video.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live or later on YouTube when we're not live, we have the video of him doing like his weird wave.
That is a weird wave.
Yeah, right. And the other thing is, I do want to note this too. So he is putting his security at risk, but also at the same time, someone noted this on Twitter, and I didn't even think about it, that these cars are supposed to withstand a lot because they're supposed to protect the president. So if there was like
they're airtight.
They're airtight. So basically anything that comes in, like it stays in. Like, you know what I mean? So like basically that virus is staying in and not coming out.
So the idea is basically
those drivers
everyone
have to be in quarantine, and he basically put their lives at risk.
Everyone in that car essentially now has COVID.
Whether you believe he has it or not, or whether you believe it's real or not, at the end of the day, he's putting somebody at risk.
Yeah. So what I kind of want to get back to is so he's been known for hosting his rallies and whatnot with no masks, no social distancing guidelines,
that's how we got
and for downplaying the virus. Now, my dad did bring up a very good point. I was talking with him about this. I talked with him about, a lot of the stories. And he was saying, well, you also need to understand that he is the president of the United States. And if he is anything, I think he said something like a cheerleader, essentially, or like he needs to be like an optimist.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is, as president, and I've had a lot of conversations on the Buzz, if you're a longtime listener, of what does being the president entail, not from a political perspective, from just a humanities perspective. And my dad did point out, he's like, as president, the last thing you want to do really is like cause widespread panic. His kind of approach to it, I guess you could argue, has been, trying to downplay it so that people aren't like so scared all the time, because fear is just as contagious as COVID.
I think there's that sense, and I agree, but I'm going to also disagree and say that like there's a way to like keep everybody calm but still keep everybody safe in a sense.
That I do agree.
I mean, you're saying you were calling it a hoax for like 7 months, and now all of a sudden it's real, and now it makes people, I feel like, almost worry more. Honestly, like I always, if you listen to the Buzz, I always relate things back to like kind of my experiences working and stuff right now and doing things. And like I work at a grocery store, so I've been working in the pandemic like on and off. And yesterday, it was my first day back in like 2 weeks. So like I was back, and this was after all the the Trump stuff came out. More than ever did I see people all of a sudden start wearing masks more. And I saw people it wasn't as like under my nose as much. Like, I mean, people still did it, but it was like way more that like people had it covered and they took care of themselves. So I was like, you have to realize at the end of the day, whether you like Trump or not, people look up to you as like a role model in a sense.
As the president, yeah.
Because you are the president, you are leading the country. So that's why people are pushing for a mask mandate and stuff, because if you did that, our cases would have most likely been lower. So that's why, because then people would be like, oh, my president's doing it, so I will do it as well. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of mentality. But because it's been so divided about it, now people don't know. And because he went on about it for so many months of saying it was not important, and now all of a sudden it is, people are confused.
Yeah, and we've been saying this forever now, and this is the sad truth about humanity. If you don't like it, then I don't know, you don't have to necessarily keep tuning in, but the idea is people are just not gonna understand. A lot of people, when it comes to COVID, are just not gonna understand the actual severity of it until it affects them directly.
Yeah,
which is, I hate saying that, it like physically pains me to say that
Exactly,
sentence.
because we were saying
But
like
it's the sad truth.
he's been calling
Yeah,
this virus
definitely.
multiple different names and not really the proper name of coronavirus or COVID-19. And now all of a sudden, since he has it, it's like, oh, I'm going to actually treat this with a little more like respect. And that's how I feel about a lot of people with with just how, the presidency and just overall, like it's not going to bother you until something like your rights are taken away or your like opinion is being affected in some way. Because everybody has their own opinion, whether you like him or not, or whether you like certain policies or not. But like, it's not going to affect you until something gets taken away from you, in a sense. And like, that's what I feel like with the COVID. Now, all of a sudden, it's a big deal because all these politicians have it. And now people are like, oh, yeah, maybe this is real. But like, people have been saying it's been real for months because a lot of people have been listening to scientists and doctors, because over 200,000 people are dead in the United States. I don't even know how many cases we've had in the States, but like a lot of people have lost family members, friends, like loved ones, and they didn't get to say goodbye in the hospital like they wanted to. They didn't get to have that they had FaceTime calls to say goodbye, and that's just not fair. And a lot of people had to see like people in gloves and masks, and it was just, if this was treated more right to begin with, we might have not been in this.
Yeah. For the U.S., we've broken 210,000 deaths and 7.44 million cases.
And, people say, oh, well, that's not true. This would have always happened, whatever. You look at some place like Australia, they went 100 days without having a single case. A single case.
This is very sad. I didn't even realize we broke worldwide recently. We broke 1 million deaths.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. And it really did, like, I feel like
that's crazy to think about.
It's so insane. I remember kind of like back in like March or February, kind of reporting on
I literally said the same thing.
Corona. I remember doing newscasts saying like, "Hey, this is a thing."
It was a thing of the newscasts was the thing.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't really know how the breakdown we do the radio and the show, we'll put like an international story sometimes in the newscast, and it's usually just a quick thing. And I remember in the newscast talking about there's this like there's this virus going on in China.
And I remember specifically talking about that.
And then there was another one and then it spread like that.
And I remember being like, oh, this isn't going to come here, and then what happened?
And then surely enough, over spring break, we come back and it's like, oh, it's all over New York. It's all over New Jersey.
I posted a tweet over the weekend that said, everybody's talking about we're in October now and it's spooky season, but mentally I'm still on spring break.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. It really is a weird feeling that spring break after 2020, like spring 2020 never really ended.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of going.
Yeah, for people who aren't in college, at least, for us, we basically never came back from our spring break. We went on spring break expecting to come back to our classes a week
or expecting
it
to only be like
later.
2 weeks, 2 weeks or whatever, and we were done. But like it was crazy. But basically, going back to this, it's just like I feel like there's a level of, all right, yes, this was a pandemic. It's global. There was no way that we weren't going to get out of this. I feel like with any cases at all. Obviously, that's like a known fact. We probably wouldn't have been able to ever do that. But there was a way to stop it and lower it. And and I feel like if we had him wearing a mask from the start, I feel like we would have, and we commanded a mask mandate, whatever the case may be, I think it would have been different.
It's hard to say kind of looking back, but I do agree. I think it would have been different. I think it would have been slightly better. I don't think it would have been completely better because one huge problem we've been seeing is people thinks, and I will say people think it infringes on their rights. No, it does not.
But also, you
infringe on your rights. This is where I'm going to get the angry tweets.
Oh, no.
I finally figured out a way to do it. It doesn't infringe on your rights. Hate to break it to you. Show me some legal evidence that it does, and I'll agree with you.
Honestly, I just want to hear like a really like a kind of semi-valid argument, because I literally just can't think of any. Like how I don't get it.
So anyways, it invalidates your right to be, like a decent human if you don't want to wear one.
I was also going to say setting that example, like I said, there's a way to set an example and show it to everybody that you're wearing masks and stuff.
Exactly.
But last week, so what people have been like, so we don't know how the president got COVID, whatever. We're still trying to figure that
Well,
out.
That's still
But
according to the
well,
actually,
Jacob, that's what I was going to actually
yeah.
add in.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
no, you're
okay.
good. You're good. I was
Sorry.
going to say, people have believed. So as a lot of people know, we reported on the Buzz like 2 weeks ago now. RBG passed away a few weeks ago. She was the Supreme Court justice, and they really wanted to get her nomination in before the election. And President Trump
this one.
nominated somebody, and they had the event last Saturday. And now, I don't know how many people specifically, but
Do we have those pictures?
I
Are
could
there
dig up those
pictures?
pictures. Yeah, but people like Kellyanne Conway, Melania Trump, Donald Trump, Chris Christie, and a lot of other people that were at the event got COVID.
Yeah.
And so now they're calling this event a super spreader event, because how did all these people get it? It must have been this event that did it, because nobody was wearing masks, or there was a few reporters and stuff wearing masks and a few other people wearing masks, but it was a majority, like 75, 80, 85% of the people that were there were not wearing masks.
Yep.
So I'm going to dig up those pictures, but basically they're describing that as the super spreader event. And I don't know. Do you have anything to say on that?
Do I have anything to say? Wow. Where do I start? So first of all, hey, Jacob, so you're a college student, you know?
I am indeed.
We're in college.
Indeed.
And you know, a lot's been coming out about this is where Ryan gets to twist the knife for once. You know, a lot of stories have been coming out where, you know, college students, we are known for apparently partying a lot, and there have been a lot of these kind of super spreader parties on college campuses and even off college campuses. You know, I'll be the first to admit, even we here at Montclair State had how many? Was it 11 students suspended?
Yeah.
11
maybe.
students suspended.
Wow, I didn't
like
know about
2
that.
days before classes started because they were partying.
Real quick before we keep going into that, I did pull up the pictures from the reception. It was inside and outside, so I have a bunch of pictures. This is for any of our Facebook listeners or Facebook watchers or radio listeners. This is from CNN. These are some of the pictures.
Yeah.
And nobody's wearing masks. It is reported though Amy Coney Barrett already had coronavirus. She had it like months ago. Yeah. But I don't know. So they were, I guess her children were already exposed.
One
but
person
also,
out of a room of a ridiculous amount of people, you know, doesn't really make a difference though.
Well, these pictures are like ridiculous.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah, it hurts to look at.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you can find these images on Facebook at the moment or later on YouTube. So anyways, back to this. So we get recently college students we've been catching a lot of guff, if you will, for being super spreaders because we're going around and partying, and there's the whole college mentality of like, oh, I'm 20 and I'm invincible, you know, let's ride a bike off that bridge and jump into a pool or something. I don't know. I don't know what college kids do, even though I am one, because I don't party. That said, you know, I will admit a lot of college students have been doing that, and they are setting a terrible example for the rest of us who are staying safe in college. The thing that I really get annoyed about, though, is a lot of, I'll say, older generation have been essentially blaming COVID on college students. This is word of mouth stuff. You know, this is based on pure human observation.
Yeah.
The part that really irks me about seeing that is not only are those, like, you know, not college students, they're people, they're like political leaders of the country setting this example for the rest of the country. I want to let that sink in for a second.
Real quick, I want to show this real quick. This is from the New York Times. This is actually, they showed who tested positive in this little like image. So like you could see like where they were sitting
awesome.
And where they like, and how like, I don't know. Again, you have to realize they eventually got up and they hugged each other and stuff like that. So it might mean nothing that they're sitting next to each other. But look, if you look at like Melania Trump and Kellyanne Conway, they were sitting like right next to each other. Basically.
Still blows my mind that like more than half the people in that crowd aren't wearing masks. But anyways.
And then also just to show you a visual of like oh no, that's not the image I wanted. This is more of like the crowd.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Insane.
So the point I'm trying to make is, and really, I really do want to let this sink in. As a political leader, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it until the day I die. As a political leader, you are put in a position, whether you like it or not, of not just power, but I will call it passive influence. What I mean by passive influence is that because you're in that position, it's almost like being a celebrity in a sense. People will look up to you no matter what you do, right? So they're going to model, you're going to have little kids looking at you on a TV, even us in broadcast. We're nobody, but the fact that we're on air, and this is a psychology thing, the fact that we're on air gives us some sort of like, people are like, oh, they're on air. Maybe I'll listen to what they're saying, which is why we always want to try and stay unbiased here on The Buzz, and why we always want to be honest and, you know, state facts and set good examples. That's literally what we're taught when we're like taught how to go on air. Because that's how it is in the real world. You look at the, you know, we'll say like the Today Show, right? You look at the Today Show and the people on there, kids look up to them. I grew up watching the Today Show. So either way, so my whole point is people who are in politics and who are celebrities, whatever, or apparently now we have celebrity politicians. You have this form of passive influence over the people who are, you know, under you, over the general public. So the fact that most of them are not wearing masks in most of these pictures that we're showing on Facebook and on YouTube later, got to get those plugs in. It drives me up the wall.
So I'm gonna change. We're still gonna talk about this, but I just want to change like parts of this conversation.
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap up soon because we do have another story that I want to get to.
So, Jacob, I don't know if you saw this stuff too. So can we talk about, because you watched the doctor speak about Trump's condition, right? Did you hear about you hear about the hours and how that changed?
The hours.
Because originally he said he had tested positive for about like 72 hours when they had said that. And 72 hours would have put it at a different timeline than everybody else assumed. So it's now come out that it's basically like he tested positive before going on a TV show on Thursday to do an interview.
Yeah, the Fox News, right?
Yeah, with Sean Hannity, I believe.
Yeah, apparently he sounded kind of raspy, I believe.
Yeah, they said that, but like he tested positive before, he didn't say anything, and then he tested positive again, and then that's when he said something.
Oh wow, I didn't hear about that. He tested positive twice.
But what's scary is, especially for our New Jersey listeners, as we are a New Jersey radio station, he had a fundraising event in New Jersey, Bedminster,
which is not far away from where we are. It's less than an hour away.
It's not.
That's really close to
at his golf course there. It was a fundraiser, and he had tested positive, and he was there.
It's extremely close to me. I have been there.
Wow. So it's
that's weird. Right?
So if they finally, the country club eventually, or the country club golf course finally released the names, because that was a lot of things. People weren't contact tracing. People weren't doing what they were supposed to from this event now. So
crazy. So they had seen that one coming.
They had to get the names of the attendees from the place. And it was, NJ.com reported yesterday, it was 206 people that were there that now have their names, and they have to get in contact with them and stuff to make sure that they're getting tested and things like that. And so I feel like that's nuts too, because like if you knew, like, why did you knowingly go? But that just shows like
spooky, scary.
I don't know.
Scary season.
Yeah, the Times seems to have that's funny. I did not know that he had tested positive before that.
No, I read that somewhere yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking at this this New York Times timeline that they have that kind of lays out everything in order, and I didn't see that.
It is
it's developing. It's like there's so many things that are like, last Monday we were talking about like the taxes are going to keep developing, and we're going to find out more things about that, and then it's like,
who cares?
Literally, taxes.
Yeah.
But also we do want to note too, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep having so much to say about this, but like, you know, people are also saying there's the point of, okay, so you're in the hospital, you're being treated, you have all these drugs, you have all these medical professionals around you. It's sad and scary because a lot of people weren't able to just get admitted to the hospital because they had mild symptoms.
Yeah.
With coronavirus, they had to be really sick to be admitted to the hospital. And like I said earlier, a lot of people couldn't be in the hospital. They couldn't have visitors. They couldn't do all this other stuff. And so this president is getting a medical treatment that not anybody else really would have received.
Yep.
So it's just important to note that too, that he's receiving a
Mhm.
treatment that nobody else would. And that's important to just realize in general.
Yeah.
That if you got
definitely.
sick tomorrow, you were not getting the same treatment
Mhm.
that he got.
Yeah.
No,
But
sir.
again, that does boil back down to the fact that, again, and I mean, heck, I just went on a rant. But again, he is the
You went on a rant.
he is just the
I was
he
loving
is
it.
the
I was there.
he is the president of the United
Again,
States when it boils
yes.
down to it. So no matter how you feel about him,
Yeah.
he is going to get this treatment, and
Yeah.
people are going to be upset about
And
it.
again, it's like when you're a you have like some kind of more political status, because that's how like kind of more of our country works, like political status or like celebrity or
If you're in a
money
position of
status,
power,
and that's
basically.
kind. It's really sad that that's kind of how things work, but it's true. Like we look at Governor Christie. He was the old governor of New Jersey. He tested positive as well, and he's in I think Morristown Medical, which is in New Jersey, and he only had mild symptoms as well, but he checked himself in, and normally you wouldn't get checked in for just the mild symptoms. So it's just important to note that how your status rank is, it's going to be different for how you get treated.
So we could go on for hours and
we
hours
could go
about
on
this. We
about
could
this for
literally
hours.
create a 5-hour long podcast if we wanted to, I think, about this one topic. But we will be moving on. When we are going to take a quick little break here. But when we come back, kind of, going from the direct impacts to COVID to the indirect impacts of COVID. Things are closing down, and I am not for it. Find out more. Stay tuned. We are back. You are back. We're all back.
We're
here
all back.
on the Morning Buzz. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. My tea, I guess, hasn't kicked in yet.
No.
Did I finish it? I can't even remember. So, so probably a no. How's your
that
coffee?
pumpkin coffee?
It's funny. We got so into that conversation that I totally forgot about it, and now it's kind of cold.
No,
but it's still good. I can do lukewarm coffee.
Yeah.
So wait, I have to ask you, Jacob, too. Are you home or are you at
home
school?
right
You're
now?
home? Okay.
Yeah, I painted my rooms white for some reason.
Yeah, for those of you who are not watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, he's got some pretty wicked lights in the background. I'm digging it.
No, that's why I thought I was like,
Yeah.
it could be a dorm, could be his house. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
definitely very dorm energy with these lights and the books. and
Hey, it's almost
everything.
like you're at school then.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
there you
really
go.
getting the Montclair experience, and especially like Machuga, it's like it's
Oh, yeah.
literally the same thing. I might as well be there.
There you
Oh,
go.
I love that.
Except the only difference is you can actually hang stuff up on the walls without getting
Yeah.
yelled at
Yeah,
by
and you
those
don't have to
lights.
deal with annoying roommates or anything. So there you go. You're just-
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Unless you have
perfect.
siblings.
Oh yeah, I do, but we don't share a room,
Oh, perfect.
and I
There you
never
go.
see him. It's great.
Tell us how you really feel, Jacob.
All right. Well, we are.
So anyways,
So we got one last story to wrap up kind of the show with. And this is sad for me as an entertainment lover
same.
and as a New Jersey resident. So Regal Cinemas is set to close all their U.S. locations, which includes 11 theaters in Jersey, which is sad because I've gone to Regal Cinemas
Well,
before.
it's sad because movie theaters and like performance venues and things have been the ones that have been like hardly hit because no one really wants to sit in a packed movie theater or a packed theater venue in general right now.
Even if they try to reopen too, and
no one's gonna go.
Very few
Or
people are
you know
going.
when you look at things like theater as like your resident theater major on the Monday show, I mean, you look at it, nobody is like, if you put on a show and you say like, all right, we'll social distance, people are wearing masks or whatever, it's sometimes not, the profit is not there and not worth it for a theater company to be like, oh, I'm only gonna do 25% capacity, so
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
no, definitely a very unfortunate like consequence of COVID.
Exactly. So the British parent company of Regal Cinemas, named Cineworld, it will actually be shuttering 543 U.S. theaters. Just 543 theaters just in the U.S. indefinitely, as well as its locations in the U.K. and Ireland after losing, get ready for this number, 1.64 billion, that's with a B, in the first half of the year due to COVID.
Just the first half of the year.
The first half.
Ugh.
That's the first 6 months. We're past the half. We're in the 10th month. First half of the year, $1.64 billion they lost in business.
That is.
So it's nuts to see. And I'm not a theater kid, or a huge movie buff.
You're not a
lover of cinema.
Yeah, but I'm not a huge movie buff, but like I enjoy going to the movies, I enjoy going with my friends, with my family. Exactly. It's a nice thing. And I will admit, it's really kind of stunk not being able to go to the movie theaters. I remember I had this really weirdly surreal moment that it was one of these moments where COVID just kind of like hits you again, where you realize again like the situation we're in.
Can I be honest and play the different side on this? So I actually hate going to the movies.
Really? Wait, now you're gonna get some angry tweets.
No. I don't hate going to the movies, but I guess like I'll go and I'll do like all that stuff, but it's just like I guess I feel that like I could sit at home and watch it on my screen. And I know that's like, oh, you're like, you get a theater experience. And it's like, I agree. There is certain movies that I feel like you have to see in theaters because the experience is like, you're going to get surround sound and you're going to get blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But like at times I'm like, seeing that, we were talking about on the Buzz a few weeks ago, the Mulan stuff, and that people didn't want to watch it. People didn't want to pay $30 for it, whatever. Then I heard it was bad. And I'm like, why am I going to go spend $30 on a movie? You know what I mean? So like, it almost gives me a chance to be like, I could turn on Netflix, and if I hate a movie, I could just turn it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And granted, though, I do like, if there's like, I know a movie's going to be good, or it's like my favorite movie, like I've paid for experiences, like when it's been like 25th anniversaries of movies, and I'm like, oh, I love this movie. I'm going to go. Like a few years ago, it was 25 years of Wayne's World. My mom and me, we went to, I know my mom's listening, so we went, and we enjoyed a really fun movie experience because it was my favorite movie anyway. So like, I liked that, and I thought that was fun. And I recently went to a drive-in, and that was fun too. So like, I think like it's different. I like those different experiences, but for me, sitting in a movie theater and like being trapped around like people that I don't know, and it's just, I don't know, like it doesn't appeal to me, I guess, as much anymore. And I guess like I'll go, like I said, but it's just not my first place to go. But even before the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I had this really like weirdly surreal moment where again, like COVID just kind of like you are kind of reminded the situation you're in, where I saw a trailer for a movie on TV, and you know how trailers it'll say like in theaters this date or whatever, and that's just like a line that you've always heard.
Yeah.
And trailers. I saw the trailer, and at the end of the trailer, it was like, set your like. It said something weird, like you can remind Alexa to like.
Wait, was it?
You can have Alexa remind you for this movie.
This is gonna be a random question. Was it? Did it happen to be Batman?
No.
Because Batman, they said currently in production, like, and that was how they ended.
That's kind of weird, right?
Production, or it was a weird thing. It was like set a reminder.
Currently in production with some
live.
people in the cast having tested positive, Robert.
Yeah,
that's a whole
crazy.
That's a whole different thing.
But
I'm getting into it.
But I'm saying like you have to put it out there because people are like testing positive and stuff, and they don't know when their timelines are going to be like messed up and things like that.
But
it's weird. Like, why would you release a trailer when you're still in production?
Instead of like
because they want to get people hyped about it, and they know there's nothing else on television right now, and they're like,
I guess it's true.
Yeah.
Who knows? That I haven't done any research in it, but it'd be interesting to know if ads and stuff went down recently because they know companies can't like, Amanda's thinking.
Here's the thing though. You see trailers for movies that are still in production all the time. The thing is they just don't say still in production because they have they have a timeline, they have a release date.
It might be like they're editing or something.
Yeah,
like it's
so they're
like,
okay, yeah, they're like, okay, it'll be done in a month. We'll release it in 2 months, whatever, and they have their timeline, but it's still in production when the trailers come out.
And the other problem, I think it gives them an easier way to like opt out real fast too, like if that makes any sense, because if they know if something happens, like we get a really bad second wave or something, and like they're like, oh, we got to push it back because like they might want to wait for the Oscars in 2 years or something, like one of those, Oscar movies or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So it's crazy. And I hate to see really these cinemas closing down, but and also this is just a list of all of the towns or
Yeah,
townships
I
or
mean,
whatever that they're in. So Regal is actually the second largest theater chain in the U.S., by the way, behind AMC. So everybody knows AMC. A
Yeah,
lot of
the
people don't
classic.
know Regal is number 2,
I
and
mean,
they're shutting down.
and even still, even if I don't really like love going to the theaters, but I do like going for the surround sound, and I think a lot of people go for that, experience going
Oh
out
yeah,
and
100%.
something, and it's like,
it's not like it's like 50% movie and like 50% going.
yeah,
you
and
know?
it's like you're
Yeah.
going with friends, hanging out. It's like a fun thing, but like I don't know. So like this is kind of like we're at a weird time. Like I feel like we're going like sometimes backwards and sometimes forwards with things. Like we're getting rid of movie theaters. Okay, like that's been
But
kind of a thing
drive-ins are
for.
coming back.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, cause like drive-ins are coming back. But, like
Mm.
that's a fun thing because you could show an old movie that people are like, I love this movie. Like, cool.
There's been a huge resurgence of drive-in theaters,
Yeah.
and before the pandemic, I'll be honest, I'm a nerd. I love going to drive-in theaters. But like before the pandemic, I've always wanted to go to a drive-in, and I literally just couldn't find one because
Oh
there
yeah.
were like basically
Yeah, there's
none.
like one in a state.
Yeah,
sometimes.
there was like
I don't
one in New
know.
Jersey, and now they're setting up in like mall parking lots.
And like the thing is, I think like so that's what I mean when we're saying going backwards. But we always knew like movie theaters are kind of like on that like weird line.
Yeah,
with, like,
they've always
streaming
been.
services and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like it's weird. Like why are we suddenly going like now we want to go to drive-ins again because like we're
Yeah.
getting a unique experience, I guess. But like
Yeah, I don't know.
It's funny too. The movie industry, I think one of the reasons they've been hit so hard is the movie industry really does not make a lot of money. If you want to start
money at all.
yeah,
What are you
if you want to start a business, you probably shouldn't go opening up a movie theater because they really just make the people are like, why are movie concessions so expensive and they don't like to bring food in?
That's where
that's how
all
they
the
make their money.
is.
They don't get money on
the
tickets.
only thing they do.
Again, as your resident theater major here, first day of theater class, like I'm being honest, like the amount of times that it's been shoved down my throat of saying, oh
don't
get into this because you're not making money. Like the amount, like first day they were like, all right, by the way, you're not making any money here, so if that bothers you, get out now. Literally, like, and since then I've been told that so many times. They're like, if you don't like this industry and you want to make money, get out now while you still can. Like literally, that is the amount
abandon
of times
all hope ye who enter here.
I could have made millions of dollars based on how many times I've been told that.
so basically, the movie industry, especially for movie theaters, has always been like a very kind of balancing on a razor thin wire kind of industry. So it is a shame. Yeah, it's been a very fragile business model. So it is a shame to see Regal closing down. Hopefully, there were rumors a while ago of AMC maybe shutting down a lot of their locations.
I think
and
a lot of people have
but
like stocks in them and stuff, and they will like save and someone will come save the day.
I think so. But either way, hopefully we'll see. Movie theaters were allowed to reopen at 25% capacity in NJ last month, but clearly this isn't helping Regal. Hopefully we don't see too much more of this. But again, we could go on and on here on 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey.
And
boom,
top of the hour.
And that said, sadly, because it is the top of the hour, we're going to have to wrap. It was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
I so wish I'm waiting for the day, and I'm not going to be here because I'm going to be graduated and living in a box under a bridge somewhere. But I am waiting for the day where the morning buzz can be 2 hours long again. It's going to be a great day. But until then,
listeners that didn't know, we ran for 2 hours.
We did used to run for 2 hours, but either way,
sadly we're not.
Sadly we're not right now. However, if you're like, no, please, I need my buzz fixed for the morning, it's okay.
We're here all week.
8 to 9. Tomorrow is Tara and Philippe. And they're a fun show.
If you haven't tuned into them,
they're more entertaining than us.
Yes.
Significantly. I'm like, seriously, they I don't know how they find the stories they find.
They find the best stories.
Because Amanda and I will be working on the script on a Sunday night at like 1 in the morning, and we're like, there's literally nothing. And then Tara and Philippe come in with like 3 hours worth of content, and I'm like, I don't get it. But either way.
But anyways, 8 to 9 all week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook Live,
YouTube afterwards. YouTube videos are usually posted later
always
the day.
at 90.3 and iHeartRadio.
Exactly. So again, In case I said it way too late. In case you just woke up or just tuned in,
You're too late.
you are in fact too late. I have been. Last time I
It's
checked,
awful for you.
I have been Ryan Trick,
And I have been Amanda Marino.
and joined today we have had,
Jake Getz.
and we will see you all or hear you all, talk with you all next time.